Cataclysm's launch is mere days away, so the devs went to social media for some juicy interviews. I don't even care that Crix and Scotty J got to interview the devs. I mean, whatever, right? Jokes aside, there are some juicy morsels of information in these interviews, like a possible unprecedented archaeology change. Or how they basically confirmed 2. The heck was that? I'm trying to say that Blizzard confirmed 2. Come on, guys. I guess you're gonna have to watch the rest of the video to figure out what I'm talking about. So the week before Cataclysm's launch, Blizzard's devs took to social media to do some huge interviews. Savvy WoW fans by now know that Blizzard loves to drop these huge, mind-blowing pieces of information in the interviews. I can tell you this time was no different. While there's definitely some big upcoming Season of Discovery news, let's start with this bombshell that Blizzard drops about Archaeology in the new Crix interview. So one of the biggest time sinks in the Cata pre-patch, it's been Archaeology. Some players are just not happy about the time it's been taking to get these Prebis items. For me, digging for weapons like Zinrock and Staff of Sorcerer Thane Thracian, it's been pretty frustrating. So when Crix asked if Archaeology bad luck protection might get added, the answer was pretty surprising.
It's weird because there are actually people who actually do really like that grindiness and being out there and being in the world and kind of just chilling and just doing these. But then, of course, there's the people who are trying to prepare for that first raid tier and trying to get what they need, and they're of a completely opposite mindset. We recognize that there is a level of grindiness with it which can go too far. Players can take it too far with 0 bad luck protection. We don't have anything to announce prior to launch, but it is something that we are going to continue watching and listening.
So predictably, not getting bad luck protection at launch has led to some pretty angry comments. As somebody who wants to blast in Cata, I'm a little bit disappointed I might not be getting my Prebis weapons in time for launch. So one of the best features for many players from Cataclysm was the guild perk system. It had all sorts of bonuses like 10% increased justice point gain, even mass resurrection to res your entire raid at the same time. The most infamous perk, though, was the cash flow perk. You basically generated income based on how many guildies you had that were playing the game. It was sort of like you were running the Roman Empire. So when asked about the biggest change they were going to make in Cataclysm, Blizzard dev Chris Zerad gave a pretty surprising answer.
I think the single biggest systems change, at least a system change we made, was the change to the guild system. Because what happened was it took so much experience to level up that the really small guilds, the really tight-knit guilds, they couldn't level up their guild as fast as the guilds that had hundreds of people. And so they were at a disadvantage, and they started to bleed off membership. They had a hard time recruiting, and it essentially forced everyone to be in a large guild.
In the end, it seems like as fun as perks like cash flow are, they kind of end up hurting smaller guilds.
Anywhere the guild system felt like it was pushing people to change and be in giant guilds together, if there are anything like that still, we'll be fixing those things. Our goal is that everybody can play in any size guild they want.
So are you guys cool with this big change to guild perks? So while my dreams of recreating a Roman Empire with the cash flow perk are long gone, your dreams of getting a Dark Moon deck might be coming a lot sooner than you think. See, the original timeline would have had us buying our cards on June 2nd, but now we should be able to buy them on May 26th, way earlier than expected, and great news for Inscription gold makers.
We are talking about doing that, having Darkmoon Fair come out, so you'll have some time leading into the raid in the first couple days of the raid.
That's not the only timeline change we're likely getting, though. True Cata fans have been super worried about the length of the expansion being cut way too short. See, the timeline released last month had Cata only lasting about 8 months. That's barely enough time to replay classic raids like Firelands before we get rushed along to future patches like Dragon Soul. And with such a short timeline, it'd be really unlikely you get your full BIS in any of the phases. That's why it was great to hear, if you're a big Cataclysm fan, that they might be rethinking that shortened timeline.
We would never want to get into a spot where we are taking something away that players are having fun with. And if it turns out that Firelands is not lasting long enough, everybody's having a blast in it, there's no reason why we should rush to Dragon Soul. We're gonna take things as they go. We'll adjust if necessary, but it's not set in stone if we have to make changes.
Beyond the calendar adjustments, there are also some serious balancing discussions happening behind the scenes. If you're wondering if we're likely to see some class balancing tweaks to weaker classes throughout Cataclysm, we'll just take a listen.
During Wrath of the Lich King Classic, we make class balance changes when classes were not strong enough, or when classes were too strong to try to fix things. We are likely to make those kinds of tweaks. We will very, very cautious. with what we do, and it only really be done when something's really an outlier, way too high or way too low.
As for potential outlier class, we've got to talk fire mages. Because of the ignite munching fix in Wrath, there's this potential that combustion is just going to do way too much damage. What do you guys think about early fire mage performance? Do they seem too overpowered?
There's a danger that fire mages, especially with things like combustion, are going to be too strong in Cataclysm, because I fixed that bug again in Cataclysm. And we'll be watching fire mages closely to see if maybe they're not too powerful.
With more than a few overpowered classes like fire mages in Cata right now, it is fascinating to see that WoW's going to be going with this post-nerf version of dungeons and raids. Instead of getting those legendary heroic dungeons that cause half the player base to quit, we're going to be getting much more chill post-nerf versions. There is a worry here that some players might burn out too fast if they clear all the content, but maybe Blizzard knows what they're doing here.
The difficulty of Cataclysm at launch wasn't very popular with the players.
No.
Going back to the difficulty, we could do that work, just wouldn't have a payoff, and it would probably make some of our players really upset if we did it. To be more consistent with Lich King, we're going to go with the post-nerf version.
A big thing that WoW fans are definitely not happy about is this plan that just got scrapped for an early Phase 4 Season of Discovery. Recent news all but confirms we're getting a late summer release of Phase 4, likely even in August. One interesting thing from the blog post that just came out is that we'll actually be able to have template characters at level 60 so we can test all the new runes. We did go from straight up discovering stuff to actually PTRing. It's kind of a drastic change. I'm curious what you guys think about it. Either way, Blizzard had to give us some good news too, so they dropped a bombshell in one of the interviews. They straight up came out and confirmed a Season of Discovery Season 2 coming in the future. That's pretty awesome news.
There will be more new stuff after Season of Discovery. That's all I can say. We definitely are exploring what we want to do next.
As for Pandaria, not a single one of the interviews would lock down a confirmation. It is odd, because it does seem like the logical next step after Cataclysm is to go to Pandaria. But with the success of the Mists of Pandaria remix, it does seem likely to me, and I'm really excited for it. So we talked Archaeology and the fact that Blizzard isn't giving us a buff anytime soon. We also talked about how the timeline might be slowing down a lot more than we originally thought. We also covered new updates on balancing and the pre-nerf dungeons and raids too. And that huge confirmation of Season of Discovery 2 was pretty awesome, right? What do you guys think about all these big new announcements? Personally, I'm pretty disappointed because there's no Archaeology buff. It's kind of sapped my desire to do more Archaeology, and I really wanted my pre-biz staff in time for the raid. Yo, one more thing, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and stick with me for more guides in the future, and also check out my Ultimate Cata vs. SoD drama video right here on the screen. Click it now.